What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monty Sports Show. It is Sunday, March 3rd, 2022. I am your host, Monte Perez, a.k.a. The Sports Whisperer. You can follow us on social media, on Twitter, MontyJP231, and on TikTok. We are now at almost 350,000 views on TikTok. Again, almost 350,000 views on TikTok. So thank you all for watching those videos, liking them, following me on TikTok. Haven't been there on TikTok a while, but we're almost at 1,000 followers. And again, it's just sports stuff, just sports clips, my takes. A lot of times I'll watch the Atlanta Hawks and I'll put what Trae Young is doing, which we'll get to in a little bit about the Atlanta Hawks, hottest team in the NBA. Told you so. They've won 7 out of the last 10, 5 in a row. They are now moving to the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, where they were an 11th seed 2 weeks ago. This is a team that has been injured all year long. They're finally getting healthy. I don't understand the disrespect for this team. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they were up 2-1 to the NBA champs Milwaukee Bucks. Trae Young hurts his ankle. They lose the series. Watch out for the Atlanta Hawks. I want to give a big shout-out to Kansas and North Carolina. Kansas dominated the game, which I predicted. I just felt Villanova was shorthanded. They were never really in the game, made a couple runs here and there. And with Duke, listen, I just think that team down the stretch was so nervous. There was so much pressure on these young kids. And I'm not taking anything away from North Carolina. They did what they had to do. I think Duke is a better team, but, styles make fights, and North Carolina, with their size, gave them a ton of problems. All the credit in the world to North Carolina. Kind of annoying. Hubert Davis was probably my least favorite New York Knick of all time. He was the softest New York Knick I've ever seen, other than Trent Tucker going back to the early mid-'80s. So Hubert Davis is now going to a final, and congrats to him in his rookie year. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Duke with John Shire. He has, over the next 2 years, he has a top 3 and a top 2 recruiting class. So Duke will be fine. I think Kansas is going to win the game. I think they're just the best team in the country all year long. And I'll get to that at the end of the show as well. So congratulations to Duke for making a Final Four in Coach K's last year. And congratulations to North Carolina, Kansas, and, of course, Villanova, which we'll talk with Ori Hicks. We have the best guests all across the country. In a few minutes, we have 2-time Emmy winner, host of TKO Podcast, Ori Hicks, going to join us. When it comes to Philadelphia sports, he's really the man, the myth, the legend there. So excited for that with Orrie Hicks. And, of course, keep the comments coming. Give us a big thumbs up for this show. Give us a big thumbs up for this show. Make sure to subscribe to the Nuts and Bolts YouTube channel. And tell a friend, tell a family member. Look, guys, we're talking about, everyone says, Monty, are you getting more sponsors? Are you getting more sponsors? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. But in order for those sponsors to keep, paying us and doing things we want to do, you got to go to their website. You got to try stuff out. And here's a new sponsor for us right now.
Enjoy 40% off site-wide. Vitable takes the guesswork out of feeling good. Get your own personalized daily vitamin pack safely delivered to your doorstep every month. Take their online quiz to find out which vitamins and minerals can support your personal needs based on your own diet and lifestyle. Hashtag only what you need, nothing that you don't. All vitamins are manufactured in Australia at the highest quality standard. Ingredients come in the best form for their absorption by your body. Enjoy 40% off site-wide using code NBS40 at checkout.
All right, guys, there you have it. We're getting more sponsors thanks to you. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. All right, we start each show with the good, the bad, and the funny. We start each show with the good, the bad, and the funny. Let's get to the good. All right, listen, I don't talk a lot of hockey for a reason. When I first started writing, I got offered a job to cover the Buffalo Sabres. I turned it down simply because Buffalo is one of the smallest markets, and hockey is the 4th most popular watch sport in America, probably 5th now with soccer. I love hockey, grew up a big Ranger fan, so I'm going to call out someone on the Rangers right now who's having a fantastic season. But let's be honest. I was just talking to my sister, and she's like, oh, you never criticize your teams. Yes, I do. Did you watch me criticize Aaron Rodgers for the loss in Green Bay? I've criticized the Knicks for years, and I'm criticizing the Rangers. The Rangers are an original 6 team. When hockey was founded, there was 6 teams. The New York Rangers were one of them. But let's be honest, they've been terrible. The Rangers have a history of failure. They have 4 Stanley Cups. Okay? They won it in 1927. They were started in 1926. They won a Stanley Cup in 32-33, 39-40, and the last Stanley Cup, 1993-94. Just one of my favorite sports moments. People always ask me, a lot of people were texting me last night and emailing me regarding Duke. How do you feel? Yep. What do I care? My teams never win, right? As long as you keep me interested, I'm going to say this about the Mets in a couple of months. Mets, keep me interested until August. That's all I ask for. The Jets and the Knicks, the Jets, usually the season's over by Halloween. The Knicks, the season's over by Thanksgiving or Christmas now. So, I just want to be entertained. Thank you, Duke, for getting to a Final Four. That's all I wanted. I was entertained to the last weekend of the season. But the Rangers have been historically bad. Let me tell you how bad this franchise has been in actually creating, drafting, and letting stars develop, for lack of a better word. So the Rangers were started in 1926. They've had 3 50-goal scorers since almost 100 years. They've only had 3 players score 50 goals. Vic Hatfield, 71-72, scored 50 goals. One of my favorite players of all time. Adam Graves in 94 scored 52 goals, helping the Rangers win a cup. And then Jaromir Jagr has the record, and I don't know how to feel about this because Jaromir Jagr was a Pittsburgh Penguin. He wasn't a homegrown Ranger. They didn't draft him. But now we have one of my favorite players, Chris Kreider, drafted at the 19th pick in 2009. He has 46 goals, and he has 24 power play goals, which is going to break Jaromir Jagr's record. He tied it. He's got a chance to score 50 goals. And that's an amazing accomplishment for a franchise in 100 years has only had 3 guys do it. And one of them was a free agent signing in Jaromir Jagr, who was a goal-scoring machine. Are you bored yet with me talking hockey? Well, I'm going to bore you some more. Because congratulations to another sport that no one pays attention to. The U.S. men's soccer team has now qualified for the World Cup, and that's a great thing. I look at soccer during the regular season here in the United States like kind of a baseball game in July. 2-1 game, I'm bored out of my mind. But a 2-1 game in the postseason, I'm all in. I'm all in on the World Cup. The fans, it's like a huge tailgating party. It's so much fun. The women are beautiful. The men are just partying. Look at this. I mean, come on. The World Cup brings out the best fans ever. The best fans ever. Look at this guy. I mean, it's a huge tailgating party. And again, a 1-0 game in the World Cup, because it's basically once you get past the qualifying round, it's do or die. You lose, you go home. Why is March Madness so popular, right? One and done. So I am so happy that the USA is now qualified. I can't wait to watch the World Cup. If nothing else, just to see the people partying, dancing, and the beautiful men and women for ladies and men. It's just a party. It's so much fun, the World Cup. Can't wait for that to happen. All right, so that's the good. Now we get to the bad. I'm not here to criticize, other people and how they do their job, especially sports reporters. Listen, I have Ori coming on in 5 minutes. He's a 2-time Emmy winner. I'm thankful for him to be on my show, slumming, if you will. I'm an idiot. But when I see sideline reporters, this is Erin Andrews' question after every game. Your team just won. What statement did it make? Or what does this mean to your team? Hey, Erin, chill out. We're 1-0. We got 60 more games. The sideline reporters are the worst. And Erin Andrews, I'm not picking on her, but if you watch her at the end of every game, what statement did you make? I don't know. We just won 1 game, Erin. There's 60 more. There's no statement. We won a game. Or she'll interview someone at halftime, You're down 24-0. What adjustments do your defense need to make? Aaron, we need to stop the damn ball. We need to get a 3 and out. Stop asking the dumbest questions. We don't need it. But I will say this. I understand reporters have a job and athletes have a job. I can't watch Russell Westbrook in a press conference anymore. Because Russell Westbrook acts like he's the smartest guy in the room and he's better than everyone. He's been awful. He's been awful. He takes no accountability. There was a clip this week where someone said, hey, guy, you might not make the playoffs. What do you need to do differently? He goes, nothing. I don't need to do anything differently. Just keep playing my game. Russell, have some self-awareness. Maybe stop shooting threes. The first 20 games after the All-Star break, Russell Westbrook was shooting less than 18% from three, and he's still jacking them up. How can you be fighting for your playoff lives and you say to yourself and the media, I don't need to do anything differently? Really? Really? Now, I've been on TikTok a few months, self-promotion here. If I didn't have 350,000 views in a couple months, I'd say maybe I need to do something differently. How are you a professional athlete and you don't accept any accountability? When LeBron James won his first title, what did he say? I needed to be a better husband, a better father, a better teammate, a better basketball player. It was on me. You never see Aaron Rodgers blame himself. What does Tom Brady say? You know, they asked him, Tom, you gave up 30 points. He goes, yeah, but I threw an interception. He goes, if I didn't throw that interception, you know, this isn't on the defense. This isn't on the defense. Kevin Durant all the time. Kevin Durant just scored 55 points. They lost. He said, I could have made more shots. Accountability, Russell. It's why you haven't evolved as a player. Now, speaking of evolving, one of the things you try to do as a human being, as a person, you try to get better every year. You try to evolve. You try to grow. You try to work on your craft, right? I started doing the show as a podcast. I realized at that moment in time I was doing sports and politics. Politics was too divisive. I want to bring people together. Then during the pandemic, I said, I need to get my face out there. I need to be on YouTube. So I started this YouTube show. I'm constantly trying to evolve this show. Today, we're only doing an hour. I realized in the off season, on a beautiful Sunday, people have things to do. So on Sunday football, they watch my show from start to finish. But now that we're in the off season, the show will be an hour. Constantly trying to evolve. Now, Kristaps Porzingis is a 7'3" jump shooter. He has not evolved. This is a guy who can't even, he doesn't even have a low post move. And again, he was blaming Luka. He blamed the Knicks. Clint Capella, I love you, dude. I love the energy. But he has no low post moves. He's a liability down on the block. Now, one of the greatest low post scorers of all time, Hakeem the Dream. Greatest footwork ever. He has a camp open up to anyone who wants to come. LeBron James did this. Okay? It's a big man camp, but he has guards there. Kevin Durant has went there. Klay Thompson has went there. It's not just for centers. It's not just for centers to develop your low post moves. I mean, look at this. What are you doing in the offseason? Giannis Antetokounmpo for Milwaukee has gained 55 pounds of muscle since his rookie year. Porzingis, you look like a Pez dispenser. You're all head. Get into the weight room. Develop a low post game. Clint Capella, the Atlanta Hawks are the hottest team in the NBA right now. And again, down the stretch, you can't shoot a free throw. You have no low post games. Evolve. Go to the Hakeem Olajuwon's camp in the summer. Lift some weights. Improve your game. Improve your game. All right, that's the good, the bad. We're going to skip the funny right now because I have Ori Hicks waiting there. Let's get – yeah, I know Greg's going to be happy because obviously his team won. Yeah. Soccer is amazing. I can't get into the season, but I do love the World Cup. Yeah, I agree about Porzingis. I mean, come on, man. You've got to evolve. You've got to evolve. Happy Sunday, everyone. Okay, one of our favorite guests, two-time Emmy Award winner, host of the TKO podcast, Ori Hicks. How are you, Ori? You were laughing hysterically.
You had me cracking up. You had me dying.
I mean, Ori, I see this. I mean, Erin Andrews, God bless her. She's talented. She works hard. But it's a no-win situation, right? I'll give you an example. I'll never forget the time I was watching the Portland Trailblazers Game 7 against the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. Portland was up 3-2. They lost Game 6 in Portland. They're going into Game 7. And Jim Gray says to Kobe Bryant, no team has ever won Game 6 and 7 on the road. How do you feel today? So Kobe Bryant says, well, it's a great challenge for us. Obviously, we're going up against history, but we're going to try to win. And this is before they won their multiple titles, so Kobe was still humble back in the day. And Jim Gray asked him this follow-up question: are you up for it? So Kobe looks at him like, what? He goes, yeah, of course. I would have said, no, Jim, I just smoked a few joints backstage. I got some women that are in the audience that I'm just worried about. I want to score 30 points so they can pray. Like, are you up for it? Sideline reporters are put in a no-win situation. But
Yeah.
to go on that point, I saw you agreeing Russell Westbrook in these press conferences are absolutely brutal. He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's what's crazy is that I'm such a Russ fan, just as far as the passion, the way he plays on the court. So I'm going to try to compartmentalize Russell, the interviewer at a press conference, versus Russell, the basketball player, up until he came to his hometown of LA. So I look at some of the great attributes that he has. He works really hard. He tries. He gives it his all, because he kind of reminds me of AI a little bit with that energy, the way he plays. But he's very stubborn, man. He is very stubborn. I think that part translates into the press conferences. And yeah, I think you're right. Sometimes he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. I think sometimes it's almost like, I'm compared to a little bit. Well, I won't say that. I think sometimes he feels like your question, not that you're stupid for asking me this question, but it's almost like how Popovich will answer a question, but you better have the exact question. Like, it better be phrased exactly the same way. Like, I think Russell's kind of like that. You know what I mean? And this has been a disaster. Let's face it, Monty. This is a disaster for the Lakers. I mean, they were supposed to, they're going to get to the finals and this and that and yada, yada, yada. And he's come back to his hometown, his family, his loved ones. He knows probably better than a lot of us what it's like to be a Laker, you would think, right? Yeah. He's from LA. He's supposed to know. He knows how, the Lakers are really the only real team, in my opinion, out there now that they really care about, because there's a lot to do out there. You better, in Southern California, you know what I mean? But the Lakers, no matter what, they love the Lakers. Everybody love the Lakers. Lakers are a national team. Although people love them all over. And you would think that Russell, like you said, would have some more self-awareness. I just think I'm going to chop it up to this is a bad season. But don't get me wrong. He has had arrogant things like that in the past as well. It's just, I think it's just highlighted, just bigger, so on a bigger stage because it's LA. I think that's
and the criticism of LeBron for this team. Let's remember something. Kobe Bryant never got past the second round without Phil Jackson. Kobe Bryant's had so many teams that were just horrific to watch. And people saying, oh, LeBron's just going after the scoring title. He's shooting 52%. This isn't, no disrespect to Allen Iverson or Kobe Bryant, who shot 44% and were volume shooters. LeBron has been efficient, but, he's scoring 38 and 7 every night. What do you want this guy to do? The rest of the Lakers, Anthony Davis is made of glass. So, all right, let's move on to the Final Four. Your thoughts on Villanova? I had Kansas winning. If for nothing else, they were just shorthanded Villanova.
Yeah, you saw what happened. Kansas jumped on them, and that was it. It was a wrap. It was over. And that's not how Villanova wanted to start that game. Villanova definitely wanted to slow it down, make it more physical, try to keep it as close as possible, keep that game in the low 50s. And, Kansas, they just jumped on them, and they were relentless. And even when Villanova made their run and cut it from, I believe it was 19-8, I believe, even that, Kansas came right back. They did the same thing to Miami last week in the second half of their game last week. So, it was a good year. Jay Wright, I'm a big fan of Jay Wright. For him to get to another Final Four is amazing with that squad. Gillespie is solid player and whatnot. He was hurt last year. Good for him. He's able to come back and finish this year out and get his team to the Final Four. Kansas is just better. They were just a better. It's a bad matchup for Villanova. Villanova had to play the perfect right way, especially losing an injured player to even have a chance against Kansas. Kansas just jumped on them, and that was it. It was over. I don't know if I can hear you.
I said in the beginning, Villanova wanted to play this game in like the mid-50s, right? They wanted to slow it down, but Kansas just wants to go, 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 go. And Kansas's size at every position is so big. And I think Kansas will beat North Carolina. But going back to Jay Wright, when I used to coach college basketball, I'd worked the Seton Hall basketball camp back in the day when Chris Collins, who was an assistant at Duke, played in the NBA, was an assistant there. And he said, the only thing we're selling is playing for Tommy Amaker. That's it. Seton Hall is a horrific campus. It's in the middle of a very poor neighborhood. Villanova, the Big East is not what it used to be. Their football program has come back. It left. It came back. They're not selling anything but playing for Jay Wright. So talk about how good of a coach Jay Wright is and how he's able to win. And I'm not going to say he's at the level of the women's basketball coach of Connecticut and the Connecticut women's team. But when it comes to the Big East, it's Villanova and no one else.
Absolutely. He's been, I think, at Villanova for over 20 years. And just really he's just such a, I think first of all, he kind of makes you feel good. He just seems like a nice guy. I've never met him personally, anything like that, but obviously where I work, done stories on him, interviewed him many times, and he's always been so nice and so gracious. And so I think just that part of it, you just like him, right? Like certain people some people like, let's take Trachesi, for instance. People didn't like him. He had that look. He looked like, scowl, and people like, oh, I don't like him. He just turns me off. Jay Wright, look, he's smooth. You saw, his gear and whatnot. You know what I mean? He just looks like a nice guy. So I think
good-looking guy, very personable.
Right. That's sellable. Sellable just to people not even fans, just kind of friends. Like, oh, he looks like somebody, that I would want to play for, and have or send my son to play for them. And then he's got, listen, Villanova. Going back to the days of when Kyle Lowry and all those guys getting that team to the Final Four. He's got legit players in the NBA who are doing very well. So he can say, listen, you come to a good school. If you want to hang in a big, in a big city area, you know what I mean? You're going to play on the biggest stage. You're going to play, in the Big East, in the Northeast Corridor. We win championships here. And as a Temple University grad, it's very hard for me to admit that Villanova is better than my school in basketball right now. But I got to be honest, it is what it is. Jay Wright is doing amazing things. The Sixers really tried to get him a few years ago. And for whatever reason, he decided to stay at Villanova. Good for them.
I will put this to bed. Since Jay Wright has been there, there's always talks about him leaving. He has no desire to leave.
No, he doesn't. I don't know what the move is. What will be? Maybe he may be another third. If he wants like a third championship or something like that, and he's like, okay, you know what? Maybe his competitive juices. Maybe he needs something to fire up. I would assume that his next move would be to the NBA. That's what I would assume. But right now he has a great, just got this team to the Final Four. It's all good for him. He's going to have, outstanding recruits coming in again. Villanova is going to be there again. They're going to be, if not the best team in the Big East, one of the best teams in the Big East. They're going to be ranked top nationally. Anytime you're on a Jay Wright team, you have a chance. You're going to the tournament, and you dang sure have a chance of getting to the Final Four with.
And I say this too. I know with transfer portals now, it's a lot harder to recruit. I was a college basketball coach when I first started. There were games on Tuesday and Friday night for high school. Now there's games every night. So I'd go out every Tuesday and Friday night and recruit. By the time I stopped coaching, it was every night. So I understand the grinds of recruiting, but why would he want to go to the NBA? You don't get to choose your team. One thing about Jay Wright, he gets new players every year. In the NBA, it's the same guys. They're making more money than you. So maybe Jay Wright is smarter than most because Coach K did it for 42 years. We're never going to see that again, a coach for 40 years. No. But maybe he's just like, you know what? I'm making enough money. I can provide for my family. And I'm king of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, the only thing I would think is a challenge. Sometimes just as as people, sometimes we need a challenge. We need something new to do. We need just
Motivation.
Yeah, exactly motivation. So to me, that would be it. He's solidified as a college basketball coach. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like,
do you agree with this comment
two
right
national
here?
championships.
Do you agree with this comment? He's a top 3 coach in the. I'm going to say he's top 3, but he's definitely top 7. Mm-hmm. Do you think he's top 3?
Let's see. So are we saying that now because Coach K is retired literally?
Yes, Coach K is gone.
Okay, so we can't count Coach K, right?
Right.
Okay. I mean, I'm honestly just thinking off the top of my head. I mean, okay, obviously, Bill Self.
Kansas. Coach K's retiring. Jim Boeheim's retiring.
Jimmy Boeheim, yeah, he's legendary. So if you have to make me really think, I would think I would say Jay Wright.
Yeah, I mean Gonzaga, but he's never won a title.
Exactly. So Jay has that over him. My man
Tom Izzo.
State, right, Izzo. So I'll give Izzo. I'll put the edge. He's over Jay.
This might be a fair comment here.
I think it's fair. He's definitely top 5.
Yeah,
he's definitely top 5. Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, let's move to the NFL. Then we'll get to the NBA. Obviously, the Eagles went 9-8 last year. I think they overachieved. Let's get your fancy Philadelphia Eagle background here. The biggest question mark, I think he is, but a lot of, one thing about San Francisco 49ers fans when it comes to their quarterback, Jimmy G and Trey Lance, and Philadelphia, if you see them on Twitter, I know you're not on Twitter, but the chat, it goes back and forth. It's 50-50. Is Jalen Hurts a franchise quarterback?
Man, that is the question, man. And I go back and forth with my friends and colleagues, and I need more from him, man. I need more. I'm not sold on him yet. I'm sorry. I'm just not sold on him yet. I love his leadership. He's a leader. He's someone you could follow. But man, you got to be able to throw the football, accurately. Most of the time, over 60-something%. You know what I mean? You got to hit those reads. There were a lot of reads he would miss right away. There were plays that were designed, guys were open. He did not see them. So, he's got to get better. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to hold what happened at Alabama against him. Some people are still holding that against him, saying, hey, man, that's the same guy that got benched in the national championship game. Right? Like, it's still, he's still over.
My mic keeps going out.
Yeah.
He went to the Final Four in Oklahoma. So it's not like he didn't leave and underachieved. The guy's won wherever he's went.
Right. I'm just saying what people are saying, like they still bring that up, and so I don't think that's fair to him. Clearly, if the Eagles are saying, okay, this is our guy this year, because I can definitely not commit anything long term, then build around him, give him a real opportunity, give him a real chance, give him some weapons. Let's improve that defense. Let's see what he can do. But on his own, whatever he's doing out there with the quarterback gurus, quarterback coaches, he has drastically got to improve his throwing and hitting those open guys right away. I went to that playoff game down in Tampa, Monte.
Man. Ugly to watch. It was ugly.
My God. It's cool. Like, listen, the playoffs, hey, I'm going to support my team. Yeah, it was, I couldn't believe it.
Ori, I was a Carson Wentz fan. The year he got hurt, he had more touchdowns than Tom Brady. He's never been the same. I thought being reunited with Frank Reich, who was the offensive coordinator when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, would help him. Now, Carson Wentz comes under a lot of criticism, but I will say this. He's one of only 4 quarterbacks this year to have 7 games or more with 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. But it just seems to me that he throws the big interception at the worst time. Are you sold that Carson Wentz is going to help Washington, who has a ton of talent on both sides of the ball, win 9 to 10 games?
Yeah, I think they have a real opportunity. I mean, Washington's already won 7 games the past couple of years. So can Carson Wentz get him a couple of more wins? I think he can. Not good for the Eagles, but I think he can. I'm a Carson Wentz fan too, and obviously the injuries have dramatically knocked him down as a top elite level quarterback. With also the decision making, but he always has had that gunslinger attitude, and I just feel like sometimes people say, man, it seems like my mistakes are graded higher than others. and I just feel like Carson Wentz is kind of like from last year when things went really bad and he had the worst season ever. I think that quote unquote stink still is attached to him. And I wonder if it seeps through the locker room. Like he can throw a touchdown, he can throw whatever, but let him throw an interception, let him throw a bad pass. People are going to remember that more than the great plays that he has made. So for whatever reason, you're on mute again, Monty. For whatever reason, I think that
I see. I'm having problems with this mic. I'm sorry, audience.
All good. I got you, brother. I got you.
But yeah, I mean, it almost seems like it's unfair criticism all the time. Like I said, he has that gunslinger mentality. And how do you take Brett Favre had it his whole career, right? That's why Brett Favre has the most interceptions out of anyone. And people always overlooked it because Brett would make a play. I think the problem is when Carson Wentz makes a late interception, it's almost like he goes into a shell and his confidence is shot after that.
Yeah, or it's the opposite. Like he should go into a shell, but he's like determined. No, I'm going to throw my way out of this. So it's one or the other. Yeah. But I think I think the players, I think it affects them more. They're like, oh my God, like this guy is. What's going on with this guy? And I don't know if you saw the quote from Irsay. I mean, granted, the Irsay family owners have said a lot. Their family said a lot of crazy things. But I mean, he almost was speaking as a fan, like, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe what happened in this Jacksonville game. Yeah, it was. We got to get him out of here." You know what I mean? But however, if you talk about what the Colts have done in Jacksonville, they have not won in Jacksonville over the past 5 years. You see what I'm saying? Like, So that was not a surprise. Indianapolis had not won in Jacksonville over the past 5 years. Nobody remembers that. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, yes, don't get me wrong, but that team played that. Everybody played bad that game. I watched that game. That was a bad game from everybody, but Carson Wentz was blamed for it because that's what happens. The quarterback a lot of times gets most of the blame and most of the credit. It's just the way it is, whether it's fair or not.
And not only that, I will end with this on the Carson Wentz situation. Like, you said they hadn't won there in 5 years, right? And LeBron James the other night missed a shot at the buzzer, and people are like, oh, how could he miss that shot? I never judge someone off one game, off one. You know what I'm saying? Like Magic Johnson had years of choking, against the Celtics, and then he came back. LeBron James against Miami, against Dallas was awful. He came back. You can't judge someone from one game. Carson Wentz was awful, but the entire team did not show up in Jacksonville. They haven't won there in 5 years. So, I get it. I understand the quarterback gets most of the blame. All right, let's move back to the Eagles here. They have the 15th and the 16th pick in the draft. Where are they going?
As well as the 19th pick. So they have 3 picks in it. Yeah. So I think that they're going to trade one of those picks. You know what I mean? Like maybe somebody like Pittsburgh is lurking in. They want to get closer to get their quarterback. So maybe you trade back and you get a couple more picks. Howie, who just, by the way, signed a 3-year deal to stay with the Eagles, Howie Roseman, is famous for trading back and acquiring more picks. So, I know it's not going to happen. I would love to get Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. I would love to get
And not just that. Here's the thing. This is a great draft to trade down because it's not really top heavy. It's deep, but there's not a lot of super stars like a quarterback like the quarterbacks we had last year. So you're for stockpiling picks, right?
Yeah. And like I said, especially if you're going to build and also you kind of got to play both sides of the fence just in case, okay, Jalen's not working out. Then you got to leverage your way to make sure that next year, one of these top tier quarterbacks come out, then we can go ahead and get ourselves another quarterback. So the Eagles will have to play it very, very interesting. Trade back, get a couple more picks, definitely get something for next year, just in case you need some draft capital to move up to get the quarterback that you really want.
Okay, and what is their area of need? What do you want them to see them to do the most here?
Right. So definitely I'm an inside out guy. So I'm always trying to replenish the offensive line, defensive line. The great Fletcher Cox is coming back, future Hall of Famer. He's coming back for one more year. So we're going to need another guy. No one's ever really, I shouldn't say that. It would be hard to replace a Hall of Famer like Fletcher Cox, but you're going to need another young defensive tackle. Brandon Graham, I don't know if he's coming back. Great Eagle Hall of Famer. We're very old on the defensive line. Offensive line, you got Jason Kelce. Thank God he's coming back, in my opinion, another future Hall of Famer, as well as Lane Johnson. Probably not because of the steroid things in the past. So it's time to start building out. Eagles offensive line was really good last year. The Eagles were the #1 rushing team. So
and a lot of it had to do with their quarterback.
And a lot had to do with their quarterback. So definitely, so we know that works. So let's keep using that and develop him. So I want an inside outside guy. I also want a cornerback. I need somebody to go opposite side of big play Slay and a safety. And the Eagles never draft linebackers. Monty, this is the biggest joke in Philadelphia. They will never ever draft a linebacker. I don't know if you saw. There was a I think ESPN did the story. It was this young man who had I think he had like a disability or whatever, and they're talking to he had like a little Eagles day or whatever, and they gave him a jersey or whatnot, and they're like, anything you want to say? And he's like, Howie, for the love of God, please draft a linebacker. Like, that's how we roll in Philadelphia. A little young boy, he's about 8 or 9 years old, man. He's
that's
like,
so funny.
Please get us a linebacker. Right. So I don't know if it's going to happen. But so Monty, like I said, I'm an inside outside guy. Then I'll go cornerback. I'll go safety. I'll go linebacker. Wide receiver, we're always drafting wide receiver. Seems like Jalen Reagor is not going to work out, so maybe we can trade him and get somebody. We just got free agent Zach Pascal from Indianapolis. Quez Watkins has really shown that he can play, but he's inconsistent. He's young. He was a 5th or 6th round pick a couple years ago. Obviously, we got Devontae Smith. He's a baller. So maybe somebody match up.
Another Alabama wide receiver.
Yeah.
And Jalen Reagor, I had such high hopes for him. Someone made a video a couple of months ago about all the drops he had in the last, not during the first half, but in the last 3 or 4 minutes of a game. How does any quarterback have faith in this guy? Because he drops everything in the fourth quarter. Yeah,
and it's really tough, and it's but most quarterbacks, I'm gonna keep coming back to you. But at some point, I'm not going to him. I'm looking. Nope.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, let's talk about
and football that can mess you up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about your head coach, 9-8, Nick Sirianni in his first year. I got to admit, a little awkward start with his press conferences at the beginning. I mean, he made Adam Gase look like the best communicator ever. But do you like this guy? Do you like what he's done? Obviously, you made the playoffs in a terrible division, let's be honest. But he did a good job, I think.
I think he did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. The flowers and the 1, 2, 3. But it's cool. He's a young guy. I think this is where he feels like I can communicate with these young guys. And so the press conferences, again, I'm not going to judge him on press conferences. Can he coach? It does seem like he can coach. Seems like he understood what his team was. It took a while because I think sometimes with coaches, and obviously, you've been around coaches and whatnot. I think you go in there like, this is what I want to do. This is my thing, and these guys should adapt to the things that I want to do because this is how I think they can succeed. And then while you start looking, you start evaluating your talent. You're like, you know what?
Okay. We can't do it, right? We can't do it.
I can't do what I want to do. Yeah. I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to have to wait to get the guys to play the way I want to. So that's actually very smart to adapt to your environment and to be successful. And yes, it was aided by a good schedule, some teams, but you still got to win the games. Nothing's guaranteed. They just not. You don't get a W just for walking into the stadium. So, Nick Sirianni really. I mean, because you didn't even count the last game. I mean, they didn't play their starters against Dallas. So, I mean, for them to win, 9 games, and in my mind, really 9 and 7 because the last game really didn't count. That's a good start. And Jeff Lurie's had success with hiring coaches. All his coaches, everyone he ever hired has made the playoffs, So Nick's definitely earned my trust. I definitely want to see how he does better. I want to see how he treats his other coaches. I thought he should have gotten the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, a little more last year. I don't think Jonathan Gannon was as successful as deserving of having whole head coaching jobs available to him. He had a few. I mean, I think that Houston Texans job, he's pretty close at getting that. And the Eagles defense was not really bad. Now, was it because of the personnel? A lot of people think it was because of the coaching, because he was very stubborn on how he coached. He made some adjustments. So I would like to see Nick get into those guys there and say, hey, listen, come on, we got to step it up, So this is first year. Good start. I'm happy.
Our nuts and bolts sports draft gurus both believe the Eagles will finally draft a linebacker this year. So your dreams may come true. And I know people aren't going to like this, me bringing him up, especially in Philadelphia. But I'll never forget when Chip Kelly, who had two successful years in Philadelphia, and then it went downhill. But Chip Kelly, one of the first, I think the second or third game he coached, they threw the ball 48 times, and they said, "Are you going to do this next week?" And Kelly said, "I don't know. I haven't watched the tape of the other team. We adjust week to week." And that goes to your point. I bring him up all the time. As a matter of fact, I'll bring him up right now, and it's one of our bingo drinking cards. Rex Ryan used to say all the time, "We got to ground and pound," right? Okay, everyone take a drink. Rex Ryan, we got to ground and pound. But what happens if you're down 17-0 to the Patriots in the first quarter? You don't adjust. So you're saying he's taken his approach. He has certain things, he wants to do, but he adjusts on the fly.
Yeah, and I think just overall, I think that's what he did with the team. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of Jalen Hurts. We're going to win with Jalen Hurts' arm, and then he said, you know what? No, we're going to utilize the best part of our football team, which is the offensive line. We're going to win games through him, and you utilize Jalen Hurts' legs. Give him some easier attempts, some easier throws, make the defense honest. And so he adjusted and said, this is going to be our game plan. And so, and for that, they were able to stay in games most of the time. You know what I mean? So, and that's all you want. You just want to be able to stay in the game, stay close, if not have the lead and stay close. Now, if it's a blowout, obviously you have to make adjustments. The Eagles got blown out a couple times this year. And, but I think it was based on some of the things that he tried to do and just things happened in the game and didn't work out that way. So, yeah, I'm really interested in how he evolves this second year. They should, the NFC is, obviously the AFC is top heavy. So you got a shot in the NFC. NFC is not, obviously the Super Bowl champs are there, the Rams. We understand that. We understand Tom Brady's coming back, always going to be there. But other than that, and obviously Aaron Rodgers. So after those three, Eagles can compete with everybody else for 4, 5, 6, 7.
I don't understand how the Rams keep signing players. Like there's no salary cap in LA. Hollywood, you do whatever. I don't get it. It boggles my mind how they keep getting Pro Bowler after Pro Bowler. They lose a Pro Bowler, they sign two. All right. So I think the Eagles are in good shape. Let's move to something now that, you and I are probably going to disagree with.
Uh-oh.
I did not like this trade from jump. I thought it was a horrible trade, and here's why. Forget about Ben Simmons, okay? You're giving up Andre Drummond, who with the Nets is like 12-10, double-double machine. You're giving up a legitimate top 5 3-point shooter, and people don't realize this. Curry can defend. He's not like his brother. He's a little taller. He's a little longer. He can defend. And when Ben Simmons is healthy, the Brooklyn Nets don't need him to score. They need him to defend and distribute. You're giving away all that to a guy who has failed repeatedly in the playoffs. And I will bring up another point that Philadelphia 76er fans may not like. Doc Rivers has lost 29 games where his team was about to clinch and move on, which means in the final game of a series, Doc Rivers isn't making any adjustments. We know what we're doing, and you got to try to stop us, and you're being stopped 29 times. I love Maxey. I love Joel Embiid. I love Tobias Harris. I know they had to get rid of Ben Simmons, but I think they gave up way too much.
That's the that's the debate. It's a great debate. So I'll say we can't forget about Ben Simmons. Like we can't, because he wasn't going to play. He was not coming to Philly. He was not coming back. He was not going to be here. So you had to do something. You had that looming over the team all year. And Daryl Morey could have jumped in taken like a Tyrese Halliburton or somebody like that. Oh, let's just trade him, yada, yada. And he said, no, I'm going to make sure I get the best deal that I think I can get. So James Harden, for all his, we know, you just brought up his failures and whatnot. He still is a top 75 player. Last year, really, he was MVP with Brooklyn. Like when KD was down and whatnot, like he balled out last year. James Harden really impressed me with Brooklyn last year. And we're absolutely hoping to get some of that this year.
Okay, but Ori, when they played the biggest game of the year, they play the Nets. Harden disappears. He goes 3 for 17. The Nets blew him out. The game was over at halftime. So again, when it's a big game, Harden just seems – it's not that he doesn't have the talent. It just seems like he's disinterested. Like he just like, okay, what time's the bar open? Because I want to get rid of this game. I'm not over exaggerating.
No, everything you say is fair. Everything you say is fair. So I just want to say on the Sixers side. So let me look at it from my Sixers lens. Everything you say is fair. So, but let me get to the trade first. Okay. So we had to get rid of a guy that did not want to be here. And by the way, I'm sure you saw the stories. He wants to get $20 million of his money back. I'm sure that's another thing we'll talk about another day.
For those who don't know, he now wants to get $20 million from the Sixers when he refused to play. I mean, what is that like? Talk about entitlement. Shut up. You're lucky that another team wants you after basically sitting out and disappearing in the fourth quarter of every playoff game last year because he's afraid to shoot. Talk about someone not evolving.
Hey, Monty, what my man Don King used to say, only in America, baby. You know? So
true.
So that was one thing. All right, so Ben Simmons was not going to be here. So that is your second best player. And for Joel Embiid to elevate his game and keep this team together until a trade was done is amazing. Okay, in order to get a great player, sometimes you have to give up stuff. Okay, so we gave up Seth Curry, which was tough. That was a tough one. His 3-point field goal percentage is actually better than his brother. No, he's not better than his brother, people. I'm not saying that. I'm not crazy. I'm just talking about his 3-point percentage field goal is actually better than his brother. So that's tough. Andre Drummond, yeah, that was tough because now you lost your backup center. You lost somebody, but it's a one-year deal. There was no guarantee that the Sixers were going to have Drummond next year. And there's no guarantee that Brooklyn's going to have Drummond. I'm sure that Drummond might have a big payday and go somewhere else. So you gave us somebody who only had a one-year deal. The 2 draft picks, they're protected. I heard people talking about the draft picks. Oh, you gave them 2. They're protected, people. So we're good with that. Okay, so let's talk about, we lost Seth Curry. I understand that. But as a Sixer fan, tell me, were you really, let's be honest, could you legitimately say you want to compete for an Eastern Conference Final and or championship with Andre Drummond, Seth Curry, and no Ben Simmons? If you can say yes, you can, then you got me. But if you say no, you can't, then getting James Harden gives you a better chance. That's all we say. We just want to increase our chances. That's all we wanted to do. So that's how I'm looking at it through that lens. All we wanted to do. Now, you're absolutely right. James Harden has to prove himself. Believe me, people in Philadelphia are like, oh God, it is. We're like, I mean, we listen, Monty. I think I told you last year that game 5, not game 7, Monty. That game 5 loss of Atlanta hurt my heart. I had to leave the house. I had to go outside and walk. I am still damaged by that. Terrible. Which, by the way, Seth Curry was on that team as well. So you know what I mean. So, and I'm just gonna say this for Brooklyn. So people say, okay, Ben Simmons doesn't have to do if he plays. Let's just say if he plays, I can take Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond out of the game in the fourth quarter because you know what I'm going to do? I'm a hacker Ben. I'm going to make them go to the free throw line. So all this scoring, Kevin Durant and Kyrie, nobody's talking about that. What happens when I implement the hacker Ben or hacker Drummond? You got to take them guys out the game. Who are you going to bring in? Patty Mills and Gordon Dragic to play defense? Good luck with your crappy defense then. Brooklyn's done. So I can look at it like, hey, Brooklyn don't have much of a bench either. I would love Patty Mills. Please have Patty Mills and Gordon Dragic in the game to play defense because I'm going at them all day, all night. Because I could get Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond out the game because they can't make free throws. And by the time it's under 2 minutes left, maybe I'm up and now we can go. You know what I mean? So Brooklyn gonna have some strategies too as well now. So so I think right now it's too early to say who won the trade. If we go by a poll right now, you got to say James Harden because Ben Simmons hasn't played for Brooklyn yet. So right now we are winning this trade.
By the way, I'm just going to put a little salt in your wound right here. My favorite player in the NBA right now. I mean, everyone keeps saying that. Yeah, everyone keeps saying, oh, he's not a legitimate superstar. He's top 5 in scoring, top 5 in assists, top 5 in free throw percentage. First of all, he's scoring more, has more assists, and he's more durable than Steph Curry. It's not even close. What he's done over the last 2 years, and people keep forgetting, he's the only college player in the history of the NCAA and the NCAA regular season to lead the country in scoring and assists. He is just a baller. And I don't know, maybe because he looks like DeBarge, that 80s, the lead singer, maybe because he's super frail and skinny. He never gets hurt. He plays 78 to 80 games a year. Atlanta is now the 7th seed. They've won 5 in a row. I said this in the beginning. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. All right, let's talk about something positive about this team. I love the fact that when you break it down and you have Maxey, Harden, Harris, and who's the other starter for your guys? Who's the starter?
It's Embiid.
Harris.
We got Tobias Harris.
Maxey.
Got Maxey. We got James Harden. And
who's the other starter?
In my mind.
Anyway, my point is they're all shooting over 80%, right? At everyone, Maxey's shooting over 80%. Tobias Harris, who's a very good number 3 scoring option, or even 4 now with Maxey. These guys, if you foul them late in games, they're closing you out. So if you have a lead late in games and you foul a Harden, you foul an Embiid, you foul a Maxey, you foul Tobias Harris, they're closing you out. They shoot very well from the free throw line.
Right. And the guy number 5 is Matisse Thybulle.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And so that element is removed from last year. God bless his soul. And, and Philadelphia fans were very supportive of Ben Simmons, by the way, last year. So I don't know what the national narrative about the evil Philadelphia fans know. When Ben Simmons last year was at the free throw line, players were like, come on, Ben, you can do it. Just give us one. Just give us one. So now that is removed, when we go to step to the free throw line confidently, yeah, we're going to make ours, especially our big man, especially Joel Embiid. He's going to get to the line. Hopefully these referees, they call the fouls because he gets fouled a lot. Joel Embiid should have no less than 10 free throw shots per game because because he plays very aggressive. He shoots a lot of stuff from the outside, but he gets to that post. He gets fouled a lot. There are a lot of fouls that they don't call. James Harden, for whatever reason, it seems like, I don't know, he's not getting the calls like he used to get. I don't know what that's about, but he's still a good free throw shooter. So I agree with you, Monty. You want to start fouling us, put us on the line, we're going to close it out. Unlike Brooklyn, like I said, when I use my Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond, let's put them dudes on the line. Let's see what happens to Brooklyn then when they're clanking those free throws. So,
and Thybulle, who's arguably the worst scorer out of that team, is shooting 79%. So you don't have to take anyone off the court late in games. All right, finally, and then we'll move to the Phillies. Doc Rivers, this guy gets a pass as far as I'm concerned. Again, 29 losses when his team's about to move on in the playoffs. I will say this, players seem to love him. Listen, it was cold-blooded. He traded away his son-in-law, but he also traded away his son when he was with the Clippers. It's Austin Rivers. Right. But do Philly fans embrace Doc Rivers? Do they like him, or they're love-hate relationship?
Man, they call him Glenn. Because was only one Doc in Philly. So Glenn Rivers.
Dr. J, you got my bad, Philly. My bad.
Look, some people, that's not me. I'm gonna call him Doc Rivers. It's tough. I will say this. From Brett Brown, obviously, we're like, okay, well, a lot of people that didn't, couldn't stand Brett Brown, they're happy that Doc Rivers is here instead of Brett Brown. Because Brett Brown was the guy, like, get him out of here. But it's getting close for Doc Rivers. I mean, yeah, you would forget that the Sixers had the number 1 seed last year, but that lost to Atlanta. And then it was like, oh, yeah, he did that. All that stuff. There you go, my man. All that stuff did happen in L.A., and they choking this at. So I think Sixers fans are a little worried and nervous. And if the Sixers get upset in the first round, yeah, that might be it for Doc.
I'm hoping my Hawks don't wind up playing the Milwaukee Bucks, because right now it looks like that. So I'm hoping. I was just telling my friend Andrea yesterday, I'm like, I want to see the Sixers. I want to see the Heat. The Heat have one closer in Jimmy Butler. And I don't know if you saw the video. He challenged Eric Spoelstra to a fight during timeout. And the OG Udonis Haslem said, I'll beat your ass. So I want to see the Sixers, and I want to see Miami. If I'm Atlanta, I want to stay away from Milwaukee.
Yeah, because I agree. I think, even though, we can say whatever, I think Brooklyn's going to get in. I think Atlanta's going to get in. So those are going to be your 7 and 8 seeds. So I think Atlanta will probably be the 7th seed. As it stands right now, they'll play Milwaukee. And then Brooklyn will play Miami, because Miami, after that 3-game losing streak, they seem to be hot again. I would like the Sixers to jump into the to the 3 or 4 is fine because it's like, okay, well, who do you want to play in the second round if you get past there? And then if Brooklyn upsets Miami, whoever the second round seed is, and then you're the 3 seed, then you play Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So it's all about matchups. I think the top 4 seeds are they are right now. It's going to be Miami, Boston,
Milwaukee,
Philly, and Milwaukee. Yeah. Unless Brooklyn upsets one of the top 2, I still would put Miami and definitely Milwaukee over Brooklyn.
So give us your top 2 final 4, top 2 in the East, top 2 in the West. I got to be honest with you. I know they're young, but Memphis doesn't fear anyone. Memphis does not fear anyone.
Yeah, Memphis doesn't, but I mean, Monty, that's hard, man. That's I just can't. But you know how the NBA works. It's very hard for a young team to get to they could probably get to the Western Conference Finals. That wouldn't be of a stretch, but not the NBA Finals. No,
you got to take your lumps in the NBA.
Yeah,
you have to take your playoff lumps.
And listen, don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. Don't be surprised. LA Clippers, they could upset them. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, they could upset Memphis. They are veteran players. They know how it works. That would not shock me if the Clippers upset Memphis in the first round. Would not shock me.
By the way, Ori, talk about stealing money. Kawhi Leonard has stole money since he signed with the Clippers. He won his title, and he's just been cashing out.
Man, you talk about another person that caused me some trauma. That shot that he hit in Toronto, man, that still hurts my heart, Monty, man. I can't even get past the money he's making. I'm still mad about that shot when that ball dropped into Toronto. He knocked us out in the semifinals, Monty. But yeah, he's supposed to be the king of LA. You know, I guess the king got to take a break and come back in his mind. But hey, listen, that's what you do with big time players, man. You take a chance and you just kind of hope it works out. So I got Milwaukee for sure. Milwaukee. I'm hoping that we are playing Milwaukee in the conference finals. In the West, I got Phoenix, and something about what I just can't. Steph Curry, man. I think the chef is going to get him there. I think it's
really wow.
I think the chef got something to prove, man, and I really do. I really do. So I'm not 100% feeling super confident. But I think Chef Curry is going to get that team to the Western Conference Final. I think Phoenix wins it eventually over Golden State. But I think we're not surprised. But I think you got Golden State, Phoenix. I'm hoping my Sixers and definitely Milwaukee. Milwaukee's the team I feel the most confident about.
Me too. Milwaukee has so much chemistry, getting Grayson Allen. Serge Ibaka hasn't been playing that much, but when he does play, obviously some toughness down low. Brook Lopez, who's one of the softest players I've ever seen in my life, but he seems to fit them. He's back in the fold, coming back from injury. And yeah, there are a few moments in my sports life that I I get sick to my stomach. And this is one of them. Just Kawhi Leonard hitting that shot. It bounced on the top of the rim. Talk about the basketball gods wanting a team to win. And I have all the respect for Joel Embiid, who cried right after the game. Good for you. You care. This is one of the worst moments in sports for me. I get sick watching it.
Oh, you get sick, man. That one hurt, man. That one hurt. But I'm gonna tell you what, the Atlanta lost Game 5 hurt me more.
Listen,
get over that. I don't know how they blew that 25-point lead, man.
People thought I was crazy because I was like, "Am I missing something?" Atlanta's they're gonna sweep the Knicks. I'm like, it's not even going to be close. They won in 5. Then I'm like, they're going to beat the Sixers. And then they're up 2-1, and then Trae Young hurts his ankle. They had Milwaukee on the ropes. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it wasn't an upset. I understand it hurt you. All right, let's close out talking with Orrie Hicks, a 2-time Emmy award winner. Ori, talk about, because everyone's asking me, 2-time. One time you could say, okay, his luck. 2-time, pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yes. So here in the Mid-Atlantic area, so if you guys don't know, I'm behind the scenes. So I'm actually a director. So I direct a lot of local news and sports and things of that nature. So some of our projects that we submitted, won Emmy. One was on political story that we did. And last year, one of the ones that I'm most proud of is our coverage of the George Floyd uprisings and in the Philadelphia area. And so we were really very, very proud of the work. It was a tough time, especially as an African American man. It was a tough time to sort of navigate, to be professional and do your job and work while all the stuff that was going on, and to be honored. To somebody voted, thought that our work was award winning worthy, was a tremendous, tremendous. So Mid Atlantic.
Don't be modest. One time could be luck, two times skill. Two times skill. Congratulations on that. All right, let's talk about this. You talk about Philly being so hard on people, right? They still boo Chip Kelly. They don't want Carson Wentz to even go to their restaurants. But I don't know how this happens in a sports city, and it drives me insane. Bryce Harper is a 13-year, $330 million contract. He's 29 years old. He has 10 years left on this contract. Talk about Bobby Bonilla getting $1 million for the Mets on July 1st every year, or June 1st, whatever the hell it is, for the next 10 more years. How do Philly fans, justify this contract?
Look, so I'm going to speak for me, and then I'll kind of get the pulse from what I hear about Philly fans. Bryce Harper chose us. He was a big-time free agent, and he chose us. He wanted to come to Philly. He adapted us right away. He had the Philly fanatic. He was down with the Philly culture. So I love you already. I mean, he chose us. A lot of times, free agency, they'll go to LA, they go to Miami, they go wherever. You know what I mean? No, he chose us. So right there, you win points with me forever. The money, the way baseball, the way they spend money, to me, it all looks the same to me. It's whatever. They're just giving out money. A-Rod got a whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? So I can't get mad at that man for getting money. I love money too. I want somebody, please pay me $330 million, please. I'll take it all day, every day. So the money doesn't mean anything to me. And the fact that he wants to win, he plays with passion. He plays like the way Philadelphians like people to play. He hustles. He plays hard. Obviously, he's an MVP winner. You know what I mean? And we know baseball is hard, Monty. Not one player is going to get you over the hump and win you championships per se, unless you're a pitcher and pitching in the seventh game or something like that, we have more control. It's very hard. It's not like basketball. You know what I mean? So the fact that, they haven't made the playoffs, they haven't won anything yet, doesn't justify the money. The fact that he is the marquee. He is the marquee. I mean, people in Philly, we love sports, so we're going to go to the games no matter what. But Bryce Harper there, he is the marquee. So I could do one of two things. I could take my kid to see Bryce Harper, an MVP player. I know we got a competitive team, and that's kind of all you can really ask for as a Philadelphia fan. But he chose us.
Everything you're saying is on point. He wants to be there. He's embraced the city. He knows this is it. But the problem I have, and you know how baseball fans are, when Mike Piazza first came to the Mets and he wasn't sure if he was going to sign there or not, he struck out with the bases loaded and then hit into a double play with the bases loaded. And the Mets fans were booing him. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? We need him. So my point is, if Bryce Harper goes 0 for 4, if he strikes out against the Mets or the Braves with the bases loaded, I feel that no matter what this guy does, he can never live up to the money. The pressure is on him to be the face, win or lose. God bless him. He plays hard. He's feisty. He's a tremendous baseball player when he's healthy. But, Ori, there's so much pressure on him to carry this team every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's it. You're making all this money. You're the guy. You're the leader of our team. We follow you. I think he handles pressure pretty well. You know what I mean? I don't think that's been a big problem. I mean, people are going to boo, I should say Philly because, I have many debates about Philadelphia being the only city that boos people and they're the worst fans and yada, 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 which we are absolutely not, by the way. And I think, honestly, when you look at the 13-year deal, I would say, honestly, fairly, you really would have to say that 6 or 7 years is going to be legit. After that, once we get to the 8th, 9th, 10th year, he's going to downcline by 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm not expecting much from Bryce Harper. I'm just hoping that he can be part of a championship team and be a leader at that point. If he decides to drop his no trade clause, to help him out later, he may decide to do that or not, whatever, it's fine. But I think what you're really paying for is the first 6, 7, 8 years of that deal. And you're hoping that, in the last few years is going to be more about him solidifying his Hall of Fame career. I think that's what you're paying for.
How is he perceived in the locker room, by the media, by his teammates? Because in Washington, he was very spoiled, kind of arrogant, entitled, got into fistfights with guys. Has he changed a little bit? Has he matured?
We love him, man. They love him. We love him. Like, there's really no issues with Bryce Harper. I mean, from the media's perspective, from the fans' perspective, they love him, man. Like, he is he absolutely gets Philadelphia. So I think right then and there, when you get us, when you understand us, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people are going to boo. You know what I mean? Like, because there were a lot of former players that were unfairly. One in particular, and it still kind of makes me upset to this day, was Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard was treated so unfairly. If we don't have Ryan Howard, we're not winning a championship. You know what I mean? Yeah. And but I don't think Bryce Harper will get that Ryan Howard treatment. I don't know what the difference is. There speculations is the reason why, but I think Bryce Harper is. I think he's the fact that he gets us. He wants to be here. He loves Philadelphia. He doesn't really get smart. Doesn't have any bad press conferences with the media. It's all good. Like it's all good. Bryce Harper, he's our guy. He's ours. He's a Philly guy. He's one of us.
I'm getting a lot of heat for constantly putting Philadelphia backgrounds up. So just to make myself feel better, gonna put the Mets up. I look at this division now. Atlanta's always going to be good. One of the best run organizations in all of sports. They lose Freeman. Talk about the Rams, the Dodgers, the rich get richer. That's going to be one of the most, and I'm not overstating it, it's going to be one of the most dominant lineups in the history of Major League Baseball. I get the news yesterday or 2 days ago that Jacob deGrom, they're shutting him down. We have Max Scherzer. I still think the Mets, Buck Showalter is good for 1 or 2 years in turning teams around. How do you see this division? Because I think it's the Atlanta Braves. I think the Mets make the playoffs. And I think Philly can be competitive. What is their strength? What is their weakness?
Man, I agree with you. Atlanta, they're the champs. So you got to respect them. They're going to be there, The Mets always have pitching. So as long as they have pitching, they have opportunity. Philly's gotta, I really want the Phillies to make the playoffs. I mean, it's about time. They have some hitters. We signed Kyle Schwarber. We signed Castellanos from the Reds. We still got Andy Wheeler. We still got Nola. So they can compete. They should be able to compete. And last year, I mean, the Phillies blew so many games last year, and they were this close. In fact, a couple years ago, they did the same thing. So
their closers were, the blown leads. You're down 6-1 in the 6th inning, and it's almost like, hey, we got this. If you're the opposing team,
right? So they're like that close. We know they're legitimately that close. So Girardi, it's time. You know what I mean? Like push the right buttons, and he can only do but so much. The front office has to give him the guys, and hopefully these guys work out. So. I think the Phillies get the wild card. I hope they get the wild card. They can absolutely compete with everybody in the NL East. We always know Washington is always going to be there. The Nationals are, they're always going to be in it. So the NL East could be up for grabs. Now I have some Mets fans, and I mean they're always nervous and whatnot. Do you really think what happens if DeGrom and Scherzer are not themselves?
Yeah.
How? What does that say? Like, will the Mets? Do you think they can overcome that and be legit?
No.
Okay, right.
Because the strength of this team is they're top heavy in pitching, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they should have a very good offense, and I think Buck will try to do something that we have not seen from the Mets in a long time, or the Yankees for that matter. Since people don't realize this, when the Yankees were winning all those titles with Derek Jeter, they played small ball. They drew by the 5th inning, your pitcher was done because everything was a 3-2 count. They took a lot of pitches. They sacrificed. I think Buck's going to bring that mentality. So I think on paper, healthy, the Mets should win about 90 games.
Yeah. And I rolled Buck. When I worked in Baltimore, for several years. Buck was the manager down there. And he turned the Orioles around. I mean, Orioles were bad.
Yeah.
He turned them around. They had, Jones and and whatnot down there. So, like you said, Buck will give you a good couple years. He's going to have the Mets competing and whatnot. Obviously, the Mets stay healthy with that pitching. You just got to get into the playoffs. And once you get in, I'm lining up the Grom and Scherzer. It might be a wrap.
You can win every series with those two guys.
Absolutely.
So, Ori, what's the ceiling for this Phillies team?
I don't think they can win the NL East. I think the ceiling is a wild card, and you never know. We get Wheeler up there, and is he having a great game? Yeah, he can beat anybody with a great game. So, they can probably get to the divisionals. I think that's the ceiling, that they can get to the division round of the NLDS, and that would be great. That would be huge. Phillies, we haven't been in the playoffs in years, probably over a decade. So we really need this. We really want this. I think this is the year. This is the year that the Phillies finally, Bryce Harper has, finally as a Philadelphia Philly, gets this team into the playoffs. So that's the ceiling. NLDS. That'd be great. That'd be a great season.
All right, Ori, let's get back to your passion. Let's get back to your background so, you don't get, shaken up regarding, the Mets stuff. Tell people how we can follow you. Tell them about your podcast. And again, always a pleasure with you coming on. Really appreciate the time. And we'll definitely have you on again down the road when the Mets and Phillies are battling out for that wild card position.
Absolutely. First of all, Monty, thank you for having me. I love the show. Love being on with you. Always great to chop it up with you. Absolutely. You can find us TKO Podcast, Trending with Keisha and Ori. We have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Check us out. Also, anywhere you can find a podcast, the audio version, Spotify, wherever you can find a podcast, you will see us. TKO Podcast, Trending with Keisha and Ori. And just background, I am, local newscast director, so I direct live newscasts, sports, and things of that nature. Also a member of the Directors Guild of America. So really, and it's funny, Ramon, you were talking about doing things differently. Definitely building the brand as much as I can. And because my passion is, really, I love sports. Like the news and production is like what I do for a living, but the sports is like fun, and I'm trying to merge the two and whatnot. So all the promotion people, please come check us out. Tell me what's good. Tell me what you don't like about me. Come on, we'll bring you on the show. Tell me, you suck, Lori, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to build this more because I love talking this stuff, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, two things before we let you go. One, obviously, when you come on, you get a ton of compliments. I'm the only host in the country who, on live TV, people compliment my guests, but they always ridicule me. So it is what it is. But Ori, promise me, if the Hawks play Sixers, you will have me on.
Absolutely. I don't want to see the Hawks. I don't want to see them. I hope we get Cleveland. Please, I want Cleveland in the first round of playoffs.
I think Cleveland's going to be out because I think they're playing the Hawks in the playing game, and I don't see Cleveland. They're injured right now, and I just don't think Cleveland has it.
So Chicago or Toronto. You're right. Yeah. And those are going to be tough games. Chicago, Toronto is going to be tough, but I don't want any parts of Atlanta just psychologically. Brooklyn, I think psychologically, there's no psychological things with Toronto because Kawhi Leonard's not there anymore, so we can pay them back for that, even though he's not there. In Chicago, whatever. Like, I think the Sixers should beat those, and those will be tough series. I don't think the Sixers will do a gentleman's sweep. They can win they will win in the 6 or maybe even 7 games, to be honest. So
it's funny.
So I can't wait. I'm ready for the playoffs, baby.
Listen, the East is. If anyone comes out of the East, I wouldn't be surprised because it is beyond tough. It is games, and again, it all depends on matchups. Toronto matches up very well against Milwaukee. Milwaukee struggles against Toronto for some reason. So, like fighting, like UFC, it's all styles make fights, styles make series. Ori, always a pleasure to have you on.
Can I ask you one real quick? I know James Harden hasn't done anything. Do you think he will get over the hump? Do you think he's going to do it for the Sixers this year or next year or never? What do you think?
If James Harden went to Miami, if he went to Toronto, yes. But my problem is that Doc Rivers, I don't think he makes players work on their weakness, and he shrinks in the playoffs. So if James Harden went somewhere, I think Philadelphia has a good chance to get past the first round. I don't think they're better than Milwaukee, I don't think they're better than Atlanta. I don't think they're better. I don't have a lot of faith in the Heat. Again, they have one closer. What I like about Philly, and this is why they may do it, is like we said, they have tremendous free throw shooting. And people don't realize how good Maxey is. He is a legitimate budding superstar. And what I like about him, he's so young, he never looks like he's nervous in a big game.
Yeah. Yep. True.
I mean, are you as high on him as I am?
I am. And he was definitely, they were like, we are not getting rid of Maxey. Even last year with attempts to go to Houston, we are absolutely not getting rid of Maxey. He is staying with us because you can see, he don't even know, he's just so fat. Like this young guy, and we're going to need him. We're going to, I'm not going to depend on him. He's not going to be our first or second option. And he may, some days he's going to be our third and fourth option. All he got to do is just play fast, just get down, just get us quick shots. He is going to be tremendous. And Monte, I would not be surprised. If Doc brings him off the bench.
I was just about to say, to get more production off the bench, bring him off the bench. And again, I'm not saying that James Harden is not going to have success because I love Embiid. I think Tobias Harris is probably one of the best quiet threes in the NBA that nobody knows. Tobias Harris is 17-8 every night. Like, put him in the lineup as a third option, he'll get you 17-8. And he's a pretty long defender.
And he definitely has to step up in big games. You talk about James Harden. I know James Harden and Ty were not even, but I'm just far as the money that Tobias Harris is making. He has a max contract. He has got to finish. This is going to be big on him too, because if he doesn't, Tobias Harris might be going as well next year as they rebuild this team to try to win a championship while we have that window with Joel Embiid, because it's closing. We only got 2 or 3 years left before Embiid is done.
Joel Embiid is an absolute superstar. You know, like the Joker, 28-12, pencil him in. All right, Ori, hopefully I'll see you soon, and hopefully the Hawks get the Sixers in the first round.
No, I don't want to.
Thanks, Ori. Always fun to have you on. Great job. All right, that was Ori Hicks. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Real quick on my final thought here, my extra point. I know there's a war going on. I know there are things that are happening, but I know people want to overlook this, right? You're seeing on Twitter, just two men in a dispute, or there's a war going on. Let's get over this. Let's not get over it. Let's stop normalizing rich millionaires committing crimes. Will Smith committed assault, and he should be held accountable. Chris Rock, sue this man for everything he has. I am tired of rich athletes, politicians, actors, entertainers getting away with everything. Have you seen how Kanye West is basically stalking his wife and nothing's going on about it? Will Smith committed assault. Let's not normalize that. He needs to be held accountable. Charges need to be brought. And if Chris Rock doesn't want to press charges, someone needs to sue. On behalf of Chris Rock, his family, his handlers, sue this man. Let's stop normalizing criminal activity just because someone is rich or on TV or is the president of the United States that led an insurrection. Let's stop normalizing. Let's stop saying move on. Hold these damn people accountable for their crimes. No one is supposed to be above the law. All right. I want to thank Ori Hicks. I want to thank you guys. We will be back next Sunday. And then the following Monday, we're going to start doing the Monday night NBA shows. So we'll be on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and we will be on Monday, probably 6 or 7 p.m. I think I'm going to want to do it at 6 o'clock. This way we could get off the air at 7 when the NBA games start and the playoffs start, because they start at 7 o'clock Eastern time. In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.
Enjoy 40% off site-wide. Vitable takes the guesswork out of feeling good. Get your own personalized daily vitamin pack safely delivered to your doorstep every month. Take their online quiz to find out which vitamins and minerals can support your personal needs based on your own diet and lifestyle. Hashtag only what you need, nothing that you don't. All vitamins are manufactured in Australia at the highest quality standard. Ingredients come in the best form for their absorption by your body. Enjoy 40% off site-wide using code NBS40 at checkout.
That will never be broken.
They hit big shots. Moved off. I think Clippers have no idea.
Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that reaction.